It was a warm Tuesday night in late May, the kind of night where the crickets never stop chirping and the air feels heavy. Samantha Grayson sat quietly at the edge of the couch in her two-story home in Sandy Springs, Georgia, chewing her nails and eyeing her husband from across the living room. Marcus, tall, charming, and always glued to his phone, laughed softly at whatever was on his screen. He didn't notice her watching. Not really. They had been married for 3 years, no kids. Just a dog, a mortgage, and a shared bank account. Lately, though, things felt off. He worked late, he smiled less, and he never let that phone out of his sight. That night, something inside Samantha snapped. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the strange perfume she smelled on his shirt 2 nights ago. Maybe it was just woman's intuition. As Marcus showered after dinner, he left his phone on the nightstand, unlocked, buzzing. She picked it up with trembling hands. The first message she saw read, "Tell her, whatever. You know she won't leave you. Your mom is the only problem now." Samantha's eyes widened. There were dozens more. A woman named T texting Marcus, romantic messages, plans, secrets, arguments about getting rid of her. One message read, "You know what you have to do." Samantha felt sick. The water stopped in the bathroom. She tossed the phone back just in time, heart racing. That night, she didn't sleep, and she didn't speak a word about it. But her mind was on fire. 2 days later, Marcus's mother, Loretta Grayson, was found dead. She had been shot in the chest at point-blank range inside her kitchen. No sign of forced entry, no stolen items, just a single gunshot wound and a cup of tea still warm on the counter. The police were quick to rule it a domestic incident gone wrong, a random act of violence, a break-in maybe. But Samantha knew better. She had seen those texts, and Marcus, he didn't even cry. Instead, he played the grieving son like a script, cold, calm. He made funeral arrangements, handled reporters, accepted casseroles from neighbors. But Samantha watched him, every second, every move, because she didn't just suspect him anymore. She was sure. Detective Raymond Steele was no stranger to death. He'd been working homicides for over 20 years, seen bodies in worse conditions, and heard all kinds of lies. But something about Loretta Grayson's murder didn't sit right with him from the moment he stepped inside the modest Sandy Springs home. The house was quiet when Steele arrived just after 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, less than an hour after the 911 call came in. The neighbor, Mrs. Jensen, an older widow who lived 2 doors down, had heard a loud bang and seen Loretta's kitchen lights still on, well past midnight. When Steele entered the home, the scene was calm but chilling. Loretta Grayson, 63, was slumped in a kitchen chair, her head tilted back, a bullet hole right below her sternum. No signs of a struggle. The teacup was still upright on the counter next to her. A pink ceramic mug, no fingerprints on it except hers. The smell of mint tea and gunpowder still lingered. Single shot to the chest, the ME on the scene confirmed. Close range, maybe 2-3 feet away. No broken windows, no open doors, nothing stolen. The home was clean, controlled, almost staged. Steele walked around the kitchen, looking at the details. He noticed something odd. The kitchen chair directly across from Loretta had been pulled out. Someone had been sitting with her, having tea, maybe, talking. It wasn't a robbery, it was personal. By 10 a.m., Marcus Grayson arrived. He looked sharp, too sharp. Dark dress shirt, slacks, not a wrinkle in sight. His face was pale, eyes a bit red, but there were no tears. Just stiff composure. "She was fine yesterday," he told Steele. "We spoke on the phone, around 4 p.m. She sounded great." "Did you have a key to the house?" Steele asked. "Yeah, I have one. She gave it to me a while ago. I came here last week to fix her garage light." "Did anyone else have a key?" Marcus shook his head. "No, just me. Maybe the cleaner, Maria. She hasn't been here in a few days, though." Steele nodded and jotted notes in his worn leather pad. Samantha arrived not long after. Her eyes were wide, nervous. She hugged Marcus, but it looked forced. Steele saw the way she watched her husband, like a woman pretending to act normal. He had seen it before. It was a silent kind of panic. Later that day, Steele pulled up Marcus's phone records. No outgoing call to his mother the day before, no texts either. Odd, considering Marcus claimed they talked. And then something else. A deleted number that had exchanged dozens of texts with Marcus over the past 2 weeks. The texts were gone from Marcus's phone, but not from the records. Steele put a trace on the number. It came back registered to a burner phone, paid in cash. But the pings from the last 72 hours showed it had been near Marcus's office and his house. Detective Raymond Steele sat in his office the next morning, sipping stale black coffee while staring at the burner number's activity log. Whoever was texting Marcus Grayson had been careful. No calls, only texts, limited movement, always pinging near the same area in Buckhead, an upscale neighborhood north of downtown Atlanta. Then, something finally gave. At 8:13 p.m., the night before, the burner phone connected briefly to Wi-Fi at a place called Studio Thrive, a boutique yoga and wellness studio. Steele raised an eyebrow. It was a break. Within the hour, he and his partner, Detective Linda Cho, were driving north on I-75 to Buckhead. The studio was small but stylish, all flashed their badges. "Does a woman named Tiana work here?" Steele asked. The girl nodded. "Tiana Boyd, teaches evening classes. Is she in trouble?" "She's not under arrest," Cho said. "We just have some questions." They waited 15 minutes until Tiana appeared. She was in her late 20s, tall, athletic, skin glowing with sweat from the session she had just finished teaching. Her face tightened the moment she saw the detectives. Steele read the tension instantly. In the small office behind the lobby, the real conversation began. "Do you know Marcus Grayson?" Steele asked. Tiana hesitated, then slowly nodded. "We dated, off and on." "How long has that been going on?" Cho asked, her tone flat. "A little over a year," she confessed, looking away. "He told me he was going to leave his wife. Said his mother was making things difficult." "And what do you mean by that?" Steele pressed. "She didn't like me," Tiana said. "She found out about us. She told him she'd cut him off if he kept seeing me." Steele's pen paused. "Cut him off from what?" "She had money," Tiana said. "Old family money. She was helping with the house, his business, everything. If he married me, he'd lose that support." "Did he ever talk about taking action?" Tiana looked startled. "What?" "Did he ever suggest hurting her?" Cho clarified. "No," Tiana said quickly. "He was upset, yeah, said he was tired of being controlled, but no, I never thought he'd do anything like that." Steele wasn't convinced. He pulled a copy of the text transcript and showed her. The one that read, "You know what you have to do." Tiana's face turned white. "I didn't mean kill her. I meant tell her the truth, stand up to her, not this." Steele leaned back, arms crossed. "You used a burner phone. You deleted your texts. Why?" "I didn't want Samantha to find out," Tiana admitted. "I wasn't trying to be part of a murder." Before they left, Steele subpoenaed Tiana's financial records and phone history. He also asked for the yoga studio's security footage. Later that day, a clip came in showing Marcus walking into the building 2 nights before his mother's death. He wasn't there for yoga. He was there to talk to Tiana for over 40 minutes. Detective Raymond Steele believed in pressure. Not yelling, not intimidation. Just silence, time, and truth. He watched Samantha Grayson sit across from him in the small gray interview room, her fingers fidgeting in her lap. She looked tired, hollowed out, grief mixed with something else. Fear. "Thanks for coming in, Mrs. Grayson," Steele began gently. "We just have a few questions, nothing formal." Samantha nodded. "I understand." He placed a photo of Loretta's crime scene in front of her, carefully, respectfully. Samantha flinched. "Do you know of anyone who would want to hurt your mother-in-law?" "No," Samantha said softly. "Loretta was, she could be difficult, but she was kind." Steele studied her expression. "We've spoken to your husband, Marcus. He said you two were home together that night. Is that true?" Samantha paused, just a flicker. "Yes, we had dinner, then we went to bed early. He was watching some finance thing on his phone. I went to sleep." "What time was that?" "Maybe around 10, I didn't really look." "And he stayed in all night?" Samantha hesitated again. I think so. Steele leaned forward. Samantha, I'm going to be honest with you. We have reason to believe Marcus wasn't home all night. We have cell tower records, security footage, and messages that raise questions. What we don't have yet is your side of the story. Samantha blinked quickly. Her voice shook. Am I a suspect? No, Steele said calmly, but if you lie to protect him, you could be, and I think you saw something, maybe not everything, but something. She looked down at the table. Tears welled in her eyes. I saw his phone, she said finally, voice cracking. 2 nights before Loretta died. He left it on the nightstand while he showered. There were texts from someone named T. They were talking about me, about Loretta, about getting her out of the way. Did you confront him? No, she whispered. I was scared. I pretended I didn't see it. But I started watching him closely. He was distant, calculated. The day Loretta died, he left around 9 p.m., said he was going to the pharmacy. He didn't come back until after midnight. You didn't report it? No, I wanted to. I wanted to call someone, but he said Loretta was dead before I even opened my mouth, like he already knew. Steele's pulse jumped. Did he say anything else? Samantha nodded slowly. He told me not to get involved. He said the police would look at me first if I said anything, that it was better to act normal, so I tried. She handed Steele a folded slip of paper from her purse. This is the burner number he was texting. I copied it down before he deleted the messages. It matched the number from Tiana Boyd. Then she said something that froze Steele in place. He made me pour the tea. What do you mean? The mug on the counter. He told me to bring a cup to Loretta the day before, said it was from us both. Just mint tea, nothing more. But now, I don't know. What if he was preparing her, making it look like I visited? What if he was setting me up? It was a warm, overcast Sunday afternoon when Loretta Grayson was laid to rest. Her casket, deep mahogany with gold accents, sat at the front of Mount Hope Baptist Church, surrounded by white lilies and the hushed murmurs of mourners. The family sat stiffly in the first row, Marcus with his hands folded tightly in his lap, Samantha with red-rimmed eyes, and several distant cousins who'd flown in from Alabama. Detective Steele stood in the back, out of uniform, observing. Marcus hadn't cried once. As the choir sang the closing hymn and the casket was wheeled down the aisle, Steele turned to leave. That's when a thin, elderly man tapped him on the shoulder. Detective Steele? The man asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Yes? The man glanced nervously around and slipped a small black flash drive into Steele's hand. I live across the street from Loretta. Name's Gerald Pope. I didn't want to get involved, but I have one of those old porch cams. She never knew it was working, but I caught something the night she died. You're saying your camera picked up footage? Steele asked, alert. Gerald nodded. Motion triggered. I didn't think much of it until I heard she'd been shot. This might help. Steele thanked him and left immediately. Steele sat beside a technician as they plugged the flash drive into the department's terminal. There were 3 files, all motion-triggered footage from the night of Loretta's murder. The first video, timestamped 10:27 p.m., showed Loretta's front porch. Nothing unusual, just a cat darting by. The second video, however, was the bombshell. A tall man in a black hoodie walked briskly up Loretta's driveway. He paused under the porch light, just enough for the camera to capture a partial side profile. Steele's heart skipped. It was Marcus Grayson. Same build, same jawline. The hoodie looked like one Steele had seen him wear at the first interview. The third video, timestamped 11:49 p.m., showed the same man jogging back down the driveway, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Steele had seen enough. He asked the lab to enhance the stills and forwarded them to the fingerprint unit. Next, he ordered a quiet warrant to search Marcus's home and car for the gun. Detective Cho and 2 officers combed through Marcus's Lexus, parked behind their modest 2-story home. In the glove compartment, tissues, receipts, and a red microfiber cloth. Gun cleaning cloth, Cho muttered, bagging it. In the basement closet, under a pile of old winter coats, they found something more damning, a locked toolbox. With a crowbar, they popped it open. Inside sat a small black Ruger handgun, just like the one that killed Loretta. They bagged it for ballistics testing. The prints on the gun matched Marcus. No surprise. But what did surprise Steele was the second set of prints, found on the gun's grip and trigger. Samantha Grayson. Her earlier statement came flooding back. He made me pour the tea. Had she touched the gun willingly? Had she known? Or had Marcus used her again, this time to frame her completely? Marcus Grayson sat with perfect posture, his suit crisp, face unreadable. His fingers tapped lightly on the table, calm in a way that made Detective Steele uneasy. This wasn't fear, it was calculation. Across from him, Steele dropped a thick folder on the table. Marcus, thanks for coming in again. This time it's not voluntary. Marcus gave a smirk. So I'm under arrest? Not yet, but we're getting there. Steele opened the folder, laying out the evidence carefully, one piece at a time. First, he said, placing a photo of the Ruger handgun on the table. Found this in your home. Ballistics matched it to the bullet that killed your mother. Marcus didn't blink. That's not my gun. Your fingerprints were all over it. I cleaned things around the house. Doesn't mean I fired it. Steele leaned forward, voice steady. We also have security footage, time-stamped the night of the murder. A neighbor's porch cam caught you arriving at your mother's home at 11:14 p.m. and leaving again at 11:49. He slid the still frame across the table. Marcus's face turned slightly pale, but his tone stayed firm. That could be anyone. Come on, Marcus, it's you. We have enough to bring charges right now, but here's what I don't understand. Steele dropped the final photo, the gun's fingerprint report. Why are your wife's fingerprints on the trigger? Marcus sat back in his chair, arms crossed. Then he said quietly, because she pulled it. Steele narrowed his eyes. Explain. Marcus sighed, his voice low but even. Samantha hated Loretta. You think I was having an affair? Maybe. But Loretta, she controlled every aspect of our lives. She threatened to cut us off, ruin Samantha's name in the church, take the house. She was cruel. Steele didn't respond. I told Samantha to stay away from her, but she wouldn't. 2 nights before the murder, she saw some messages on my phone. She confronted me, thought I was going to leave her. She went ballistic, accused me of choosing Loretta over her. She said she wanted her gone. Marcus leaned closer. The night Loretta was killed, Samantha took my car. I didn't know where she went until she came home at midnight, shaking. She made me hide the gun. She said if I loved her, I'd protect her, and I did. Steele was silent. He studied Marcus's face. Calm, steady, rehearsed. You expect me to believe you let your wife commit murder, then helped cover it up? I expect you to believe the truth, Marcus replied, tilting his head. You said it yourself, her prints are on the weapon. Steele stood up. We'll see what she says about that. Samantha's hands were trembling when Steele returned. He placed the report on the table. Marcus says you pulled the trigger. Her face drained of color. He says you killed Loretta, then made him hide the weapon to protect you. No, she whispered. That's a lie. I touched the gun once, a month ago. He showed it to me in the basement, said it was for protection. I never saw it again. Did you ever hold it by the grip? I don't remember. Didn't shoot her, detective. I swear. Then help me prove it. Tell me everything. Samantha took a deep breath. After I saw those texts, I followed Marcus the night Loretta died. He said he was going to the pharmacy, but I knew better. I took an Uber, stayed down the block. I saw his car parked outside Loretta's place. I saw the porch light turn on and off. Then it was dark. 15 minutes later, he came out, got in the car, and left. Why didn't you tell us this before? Because I was afraid. I thought he might kill me too. Steele stared at her. One of them was lying, and they were both good at it. Detective Steele sat quietly at his desk, reading through the final forensics report for the 10th time. It was over. The pieces had finally come together. Not from what Marcus said, not from what Samantha confessed, but from the cold, unforgiving science, DNA, timestamps, and a voice message no one expected to hear. The final ballistics report confirmed the bullet removed from Loretta Grayson's body matched the Ruger LC9 recovered from Marcus's home. But that wasn't the twist. DNA recovered from the trigger and rear slide belonged to only one person, Samantha Grayson. Not partial prints. Full DNA profile from sweat and skin cells. It wasn't months old. It was fresh, consistent with the night of the murder. Detective Steele still wasn't convinced. until the digital forensics team pulled the last piece from Loretta's cell phone, which had been locked behind a failed passcode for days. They finally cracked it. Inside was a voicemail, never sent, never deleted. "Marcus, it's your mother. I'm done playing games. That girl you married, she came to my door screaming about your other woman. You better control her. She threatened me, said I'd pay for protecting a cheater. She's unstable, Marcus. You think I'm the problem, but she's dangerous. I'm warning you. Get her help." The audio ended there. That was less than 15 minutes before the gunshot that killed Loretta. Samantha sat with her arms wrapped tightly around her body. She looked smaller than before, like a balloon slowly losing air. Detective Steele walked in holding a file. He didn't sit down. He didn't need to. "We got the DNA results," he said softly. Samantha said nothing. "We also recovered a voicemail. Your mother-in-law left it right before she died. She said you were the one who threatened her, that you were furious, that you wanted to make her pay." Tears welled up in Samantha's eyes. She always controlled him. She hated me. She said I wasn't good enough, that Marcus deserved someone. Pure. Steele stared. "So you killed her?" "I didn't plan to. I just wanted to scare her. I found the gun in the basement. Marcus didn't even know I'd seen it. That night, I waited until he left for the pharmacy. I took his car and drove to her place." Her voice trembled. "She said awful things about my family, about my baby. I couldn't take it. She tried to shut the door and I pulled the trigger." A long silence filled the room. "I didn't mean to. I panicked. I drove home, hid the gun where I'd seen Marcus hide other things, and said nothing. When the police came, I thought it was all over. But then Marcus said he'd take the blame." Steele frowned. "He said you did it." Samantha laughed bitterly. "Of course he did. I thought he was protecting me. But no, he was setting me up in case you got too close. Key evidence. DNA on weapon confirms she fired the gun. Loretta Grayson's voicemail documented threats. Uber receipt confirmed Marcus was not at the crime scene. Samantha's full confession, audio recorded. Samantha Grayson stood before the court, face pale and jaw tight, as the judge read the sentence. 35 years to life in state prison. Marcus never looked at her. After the verdict, he moved out of state quietly, leaving behind the home they once shared. No one knew where he went. Detective Steele filed the case away with a heavy heart. It was a story as old as time, jealousy, lies, and a moment of blind rage, all because she saw his phone. And 2 days later, his mother was dead.